I have the privilege of completing my field study with my place of employment. Mountain Vista Law is a small, all-female law firm located in the town of Cochrane, Alberta. Mountain Vista Law specializes in family law and wills and estates. Most files that we see include separation, divorce, prenuptial agreements, parenting and child support issues, adult guardianship and trusteeship, probate, and wills. My roles and duties in my field study are mainly limited to observation. The reason for this is because I am accompanying the lawyers to court hearings, mediations, and settlement meetings, where my only responsibility is to observe the parties and to learn. However, I have been tasked with multiple agreements to draft on my own, such as separation and property agreements. Before my field study began in March of this year, every lawyer at my law firm had either an EICC, JDR, or mediation scheduled every week to 2 weeks. This gave me the impression that I would be attending court and other forms of dispute resolution all the time. Unfortunately, not as many have been booked recently, but this has provided a different learning opportunity for me. The reason that not as many dispute resolution resources have been utilized is due to the lawyer's abilities to settle the matters. I was provided with a few opportunities to sit in on lawyer meetings and lawyer-client meetings to learn different strategies that they use to encourage settlement. Settling outside of court is the best possible outcome for clients, especially in the family law area. One of the more interesting strategies that I learned from watching the lawyers settle matters is that they often played into the other party's egoism and allowed them to believe that the offer was their idea, and then praised them for being so generous with their compromises, even though the entire time it was actually our client's offer that was being proposed. At other times, when it was our client who was having trouble compromising on some of the points from the offer, I would observe the lawyer explaining to the client which direction the court was most likely to lean. I also learned at this time that the lawyers are not willing to argue an issue that the court would not grant in their favor, even if the client wishes to argue it. It has been interesting for me to see the different ways in which the lawyers and mediators encourage parties to settle. In fact, my experience observing mediation was very different from what I learned through the BJS program, especially in the way that my real-life experience differed from the role-play experience that we did at the school. After learning ADR methods at the Royal Roads residency, I walked away feeling like I was not cut out for that kind of job. I left feeling like that because I did not fully understand how to implement what I learned into a real-life situation. My feelings were that I would end up creating a more stressful situation for the parties involved than the one they were already in. Wingrove and Turner discuss how important work placement is for preparing for future careers. They further go on to say that universities are challenged to create authentic links between learning and work. Since having the chance to observe a real mediation, I've regained the spark to take my career down a path that allows me to help provide resolution to conflict. The mediator that we worked with was friendly and warmed the room as soon as he walked in. Suddenly, all the tense energy that was once there was at ease, and everyone in the room appeared to be more comfortable, even cracking jokes at times. The approach that the mediator took to settle the dispute was a more directive approach, one that I was not familiar with. He opened the session by asking the parties what the outstanding issues were, putting all the facts onto a large screen for all to see, and then explaining in his own words exactly what the fairest outcome was going to be and why he believed it to be the fairest. He was able to get the parties to an agreement in 2.5 hours, which he proudly proclaimed was his best record yet. I believe this experience was a great example of my university linking education and work. And the reason that I believe this to be true is because I got a better understanding of the material that I was being taught when I was able to experience it in a real-life setting instead of just a role-play scenario at the school, and I'm grateful for that. Jackson discusses how work placements are necessary for more than just developing skills, and additionally, she emphasizes the importance that students find their professional identity and that their professional beliefs and values align with the career that they're entering. Since starting my field study, I feel like I'm really starting to see my personal and professional values align. I have gone back and forth multiple times between taking my BJS degree into law school or if I should pursue my master's degree. I've also felt conflicted about what I should take my master's degree in if I choose to go that route. However, my field study has changed my perspective in a lot of ways, since being able to experience things in a new way. As a child, I was a victim of domestic violence that left me suffering with post-traumatic stress and needing in-depth trauma treatment to begin my healing journey. For a long time now, I've had a strong desire to be a voice for women and children going through or leaving domestic violence situations. Until now, I was unsure what that looked like in a career. As I analyze the options that I have for myself, I find myself drawn towards taking my career into law school and working in family law as child's counsel and mediator. While I know this will be emotionally challenging, I feel strongly that children need someone to be in their corner when they're navigating difficult times. I also feel drawn to mediating family law matters to assist parents in reaching an agreement that is in the very best interest of the children. As Tamara Afifi discusses in her TED Talk, how parents fight has a drastic effect on children's physiological responses. My goal in my career is to assist in preventing this stress on children by helping parents reach a resolution. My chosen career theory, self-determination theory, describes a scenario in which the employee attains intrinsic motivation to excel in their career when their employer meets and emphasizes the employee's strengths, interests, and needs rather than motivating them through reward or control tactics. The employer must be able to meet motivational and emotional drivers for the employee to be successful long-term. When self-determination theory and a person's personal and professional values intertwine in work-integrated learning, that person obtains a sense of self-worth in the profession that they're thinking of working in. And that is when the university experience transitions successfully to entering a career. At this stage, the university student has developed the confidence to perform the job independently. I believe that self-determination theory has been successful for me in transitioning to a career in the near future. The lawyers that I've been working closely with and the mediator that I worked with have been instrumental in meeting my needs, strengths, and values as described in self-determination theory and have offered consistent praise, trust, and encouragement for my future goals.